Hey guys, welcome into the Poker Reborn channel. We are checking out devlog 132 for Battle Brothers Gunpowdered Weapons. Stinking sweet. Two things real quick. Number one, I'm going to give all my thoughts and opinions at the very end. If you check the description below, you can hit the timestamps for any part that you want to see in particular, because some of you might have already seen some of this stuff. So, and of course, yeah, that's actually everything. So let's jump in here. As you already have learned here, the city-states, or the southern city-states, are placed where medieval science flourishes. Advancements in medicine, astrology, alchemy are unlike anything found in the north. You've already learned a good deal about the alchemy part already, but now it's time to get a look at their finest alchemical achievement, gunpowdered weapons. This requires a bit of introduction, so let's get started. Introduction here. Battle Brothers is set in an era spanning the early to high medieval ages as we move from scrimmageaxe to greatsword and across all tiers of equipment. There's a few outliers, such as the fencing sword, but by and large, this dictates what kind of equipment may make its way into the game. It's also the reason why there isn't any full-blown armor available. Naturally, the same restrictions apply to any gunpowdered weapons we're going to introduce, which is really cool. Until the Blazing Deserts DLC, the setting was limited to draw inspiration from Europe. Gunpowder weapons weren't much of a thing there at the time, but it doesn't mean that other cultures weren't employing them. The gunpowder weapons we're going to introduce aren't the muskets that many people may immediately think of, because these clearly would fall out of the era that Battle Brothers covers. Instead, they're very early firearms based on Eastern cultures what Eastern cultures actually had available at the time. Very beautiful, very interesting. You got that fire thing going on here. That's pretty sweet. Alright, so gunpowder weapons work differently from any other ranged weapons in the game and fill their own niche. Their attacks don't target individual opponents, but instead hits area of effect, covering multiple tiles and always hitting both body and head. Also differently from any other weapons, the skill of a shooter and the defenses of a target don't determine whether a target is hit at all. Wow, that's really interesting. But rather for how much damage it is. The higher the skill of the shooter, the more damage the target receives. The higher the defenses of a target, the less damage it receives. For example, while you have a hard time dodging a load of shrapnel being shot at you in its entirety, a shield offers good protection against it and will reduce any damage you might otherwise take. Okay. Oh boy. That is sweet. Oh, Panda Dome. Now y'all know. Now y'all know. Because it's important to understand the area of effect and attack with a gunpowder weapon will cover, not least to avoid friendly fire, we've revised how these are displayed in the game. No matter if a tile is empty or not, you'll now always be able to see which tiles in the line of fire. Just want to see that real quick. Is that talking like enemy, like when we walk in? I wonder if that's what that's talking about. Anyways, naturally this goes for any melee attacks already in the game as well. So with all that being said, let's take a closer look at gunpowder weapons available to you. Ooh, that's a new one. At least I think that's a new icon there. Yeah, very cool. Okay, the Firelance. Ooh. The Firelance is an explosive charge mounted on a wooden stick. Once ignited, it will spew fire in a straight line covering multiple tiles in front of the shooter. It has limited range but can still be safely fired from the back line without hitting your own men. Victims caught in the jet of fire may suffer one of the new burning injuries. That is so awesome. That is so sweet. The Firelance has a single use in combat, after which it is burned out and useless. Like throwing weapons, it is automatically refilled after each battle and can be used again in the next one. Firelances are particularly useful to soften enemy ranks in deep formation, as they are able to set ablaze opponents in the back line that are out of reach from polearms or great swords and are guaranteed to hit. The conscript armies of the city-states regularly make use of them before battle lines crash. Oh, that makes so much... Okay. That makes so much sense. All right, let's see if we can't get this one. The Handgonne... Is it supposed to be the handgun? No, gong. Goon? Handgoone. I'm not sure. The handgoone, I think it's... Gani? Handgun? I'm going to go with handgun. The handgun is a massive cast iron cannon with a wooden handle. It fires shrapnel in a cone and can hit multiple targets in one shot for devastating damage. But at less range than either bow or crossbow, similar to the two-way crossbow, it has to be reloaded after every shot with shrapnel and gunpowder carried in its ammunition slot. Okay. As it is heavier and more cumbersome to reload than even a crossbow, the character carrying a Handgonne cannot fire, reload, and move in the same turn. Makes sense. Gotta finish this out. I keep going crazy here. The handgun, I'm just gonna call it a handgun. The handgun excels against multiple light armored targets, but can also be effective employ for damaging several more heavy armored opponents at once. Because the handgun covers a wide cone, smart positioning and watching out for friendly fire is important. Used right, it can quickly even the odds if overwhelmed by superior enemy numbers. After all, the more enemies, the more targets to hit, and any target thus hit may suffer both piercing and burning injuries. Wow, stinking sweet, guys. All right, well, let's start here at the top. First off, this is not, just in case anybody's wondering, and this is where we get into my thoughts, of course, but this is not the second edition of, or the second, the Southern Arms. This is not the Southern Arms second part. This is literally its own thing. So there's more weapons to come, of course. Just want to get that out of the way if anybody was wondering. On the flip side, though, I think they did, for what it's worth, I think they did a great job. Something tells me this is not going to be overpowered. I love that the damage is based on who it is carrying it. So I'm assuming that in armies, right? In like the conscript armies, I'm thinking that they are not going to have the greatest range, maybe like 65 to 75 in terms of their range attack. So I'm assuming that the damage won't be nearly as bad as if you ended up getting an archer with 90 to 100. Now, the one thing I'm wondering about right off the bat, because it's based on your range attack, that you do more damage because you're better at aiming the thing to be able to be most effective. My question is, I'm wondering, is the master archers going to have these things? If they do, this could be really devastating for us. On the flip side, of course, this is just going over, just kind of giving you an idea what this weapon does and how they've employed it. It is really the most barbaric use of these weapons. It's the lowest tier of using these weapons in this culture. And of course they did say they didn't want it to be like all of a sudden it becomes guns and so on, or like a blunderbuster, or a just as an example, because it kind of looks like a blunderbuster in my opinion. But really it's a big cannon full of crap. I'm trying to think of a game that had something like this. It kind of does remind me of a blunderbuster when we're all getting down to it. But honestly, all they're doing is packing gunpowder. They're throwing a bunch of crap shrapnel, as it says, and then blowing it out. And if you have a higher range attack, then yeah, you do more damage. It's interesting to me because it reminds me of the, what is it called? Legends mod. So in the Legends mod, the difference is it's based off of your initiative. The damage is purely based off your initiative. The higher the initiative, the more damage you do. Not about your range. Your range is just how effective it is. You're able to actually hit the target, right? So they actually made it where, yeah, you're going to be able to hit stuff either way, but you have to have higher range so that you can determine how good of a shot you're going to do. Now, let's get onto the Firelance. The Firelance, this is going to be an amazing weapon for a few different reasons. I'm thinking of what you'd face that you would allow to use burning. First off, what does burning affect? What type of units does it affect? Does it affect unholds? Does it affect zombies? Does it affect lindworms? Does it affect I'm just trying to think of a few different things. Spiders, of course, I imagine that'll affect them. You can use damage. But this is going to lay waste to so many things because of the burning, because of the armor that's not there. I think of we call them Nebuchadnezzars. There's Nibwisers, or however you say it. Like, just employing one of these and poof, hitting them, it's going to be amazing. Now, the cool thing is, excuse me, guys. Oh, anyways. I was like dying there, but really we looking at this thing, it's a reusable thing. You can use it once per combat, so you pull it out, boom. Think of guys with, like me, anybody who watches my playthroughs, I love using bags and belts. So to be able to pull this out, blow it in the enemy's face, then instantly switch out, I think quick hands is going to be a very, very useful trait, or perk, excuse me, to use with this weapon. The fact that you can just hit somebody and just do an AoE of damage. How many times have you had it where the archers will run up on the line, stay right behind the line, and shoot you from so close, but you just don't have the range to be able to get at them, or you're shooting through the crowd. This thing is the crowd control. They also stated here towards the bottom that so yeah, we have the conscripts use these in battle. So that's what they're talking about. They want their men, or like the what are they called? The slaves, right? So the slaves run up, they're going to use this to burn them in front of you and hit you in the process as well. That's their goal. They're going to step forward. So honestly, it's going to be crazy, because honestly, if you think about it, you're going to be blowing it at the slaves while they're going to be trying to get close enough to blow them at you through the slaves, and so on. So I think that strategy is going to be very interesting to see how they kind of worked it out. But yeah, this is going to be a must-have, I feel like, for a lot of people. And the fact is, too, if you remember reading back, it talks about fire damage first melts through the armor, then it starts just shredding the health. So it's a very dangerous, it's kind of like a lindworm on a stick. The blowing of the acid, except for acid, I don't think hurts your skin. I can't remember. Honestly, I feel like I can't think of that. Maybe it does hurt you. Either way, now we go on to the handgun. Somebody tell me how you say this. I could look it up, but I remember last time I did that, it was like super loud. But if we look on here, you got this is a massive cast iron cannon. It's a cannon. Okay, it's not a blunderbuster, it's a cannon. It takes a whole turn you can't move or anything. This is the equivalent in Legends mod of the two-handed sling. Essentially, you can't move anywhere. You have to load a massive rock on the sling, and the next turn you can throw it. So you can move, but it's going to take you a whole nother turn to be able to get it loaded and then shoot. So that's going to be really interesting. One thing I was thinking about it too is, how much is it going to cost for the ammo? I gotta imagine the prices are going to be a little bit higher. So while it is an amazing weapon, what does that entail, and how far can it actually shoot? Because I don't think it says, I don't remember reading that. Devastating damage, one shot for devastating damage, less range. Okay, so it does have less range. Just trying to think, heavy and cumbersome. But it's going to be interesting to see how much damage this thing actually does. In terms of armor, what does it actually chunk out? And I don't know, guys. It's going to be very interesting. I don't really have a lot to say about it. One thing I was kind of wondering up here, kind of going in turn, these two, I mean, you could have two of these on the front line. That would be nuts, just to blow away whatever it is, and then switch out, do like rotation. So rotate, boom, that you know you're going to have a higher initiative with your back line, so they can come up, boom, make a shot. Or somebody else could rotate with you. I don't know. I just think there's going to be some very interesting strategies to employ this thing, and I just want to see the pure damage of it, honestly. Yeah, and it even says down here, it can quickly overwhelm, or even the odds if overwhelmed by superior enemy numbers. So, yeah, the more targets, the better it is. My final thing on here with burning damage, I want to just get this out of the way. You know, I was thinking about, like, I mentioned zombies. And, you know, you think of any zombie movie like Walking Dead or Resident Evil or whatever else. Burning is pretty effective. I feel like it's you know, I want to know if you can light them on fire and it actually kills them. I gotta imagine it does, but I don't know if they're gonna actually take one of the penalties of an injury. So that'll be very interesting to see as well. Anyways, guys, give me your thoughts, opinions. Oh, wait, I totally forgot about this. The beast. The beast. They're introducing new beasts here without telling us. I can't believe I forgot about that. Hyenas. Looks like some hyenas. That's all I really got. I'm assuming that they're going to be... I gotta imagine they're going to be the same exact way as... This is my guess. They're going to be kind of like wolf riders. And what I mean by that is... I had thought about this before when I first saw the pictures, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to run in, try to hold you down. And then some of them are going to try to circle you. Or they might just constantly try to circle you and you try to kill them. And they just wait for you to have an opening. That could work against them, of course, with archers just pelting them. But it's got to be some sort of strategy. I can't imagine they're going to be just like the dire wolves. So we'll see what happens there. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming out to the channel. Yeah, gunpowder weapons. What a great thing it is. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.